You need to start treating men as dogs. Yes, I just said that, and I mean it. You need to start treating men as dogs. And before you get mad at me, but you can actually get mad at me because I don't mind if you write a little hateful comment. It's just gonna boost my video, so I'm happy about that. Anyways, before you get mad at me, understand this. We always say that dogs are man's best friend because dogs are absolutely wonderful. They're amazing. They're beautiful. And they're not bad. Why are we thinking that calling someone a dog is a bad thing? You know what dogs are? If they're trained right, they're loyal, they will do anything for you, and they will listen to every command that you give them if you train them right. So in this case, dogs, aka men, can actually become woman's best friend. But the reason why we feel like they're our enemies is because we are giving men treats and praise for bad behavior instead of flipping it, training them and giving them rewards for their good behavior. Think about it like this. A dog that bites someone, does that dog deserve a treat? A dog that keeps barking all night, do you give it a treat for barking all night to make it stop? No, because you know what that dog's gonna learn? It's gonna learn that that behavior, barking all night, biting, doing things that you don't want it to do, it's gonna learn that it's okay. But us humans, us women, we have a tendency to believe that if we treat a man nicely, then maybe he'll stop doing the behavior that he's doing that's not so nice. A lot of girlies have a tendency to believe that if they give themselves energetically, physically to a man, then maybe he'll act right because then he might be afraid of losing that good thing that I'm showing him that he has access to when I'm around. That is literally like rewarding a dog for its bad behavior because men are simple. If you give them praise and physical affection after a man having done something towards you, said something towards you that is not something that you like, that is literally you condoning it and saying, good boy, I like this, do more. And that is you training a man to do more bad things because he knows that when he does the bad things, or even when he doesn't do the bad things, he can keep on getting access. He will keep on getting access to the treats. And we're not talking Scoopy snacks, we're talking access to you. We're talking access to your energy. We don't even necessarily need to mean that it's access to your body, but it can just be access to your energy. You know what humans do when they have a dog who's acting up and that hasn't done what they are supposed to do? That dog might be put outside the house. And you know what? If that dog really peed all over the carpet or bit some kid or whatever, then it's not bad to put it outside. And it's not bad to say, you know what, little fella, you're not getting any treats tonight. You're not getting your bacon snacks. And actually, dogs have a tendency to behave better than men. Most of the times, the dog doesn't even need to go outside because the dog, actually, we are not afraid of training it. We understand that we need to train the dog, but we are afraid of training our men. So we just give the men all the treats from the beginning and then hope that they see because we give them all the treats, that means that they'll act right. But they're like, oh, she's going to give me all of the treats without me doing anything. Okay, I'm not going to do anything. We are willing to make a dog do dog shows. We're willing to teach a dog how to do this and do that. A dog can learn tricks and rolling around and give me your paw and everything. And you know what? When we teach a dog new tricks, you know what we do? Every time it gets it right, we give them a treat. Every time it attempts to do it right, we give them a treat. We reward positive behavior, but we do not reward bad behavior. And you know what we also don't do with dogs? We don't sit down and try to explain to the dog what the dog did wrong. Hey, Bubbles, I know that you are supposed to give me the paw, but you know, I can see that you're struggling, but I would really like if you would give me your paw because I feel like I've been training you and I've been feeding you and I've been doing all of this. And why are you not giving me your paw? You're rude. The dog doesn't understand this. The dog understands, give me your paw. When it gives you the paw, it gets a treat. So it's going to continue giving you the paw. But if you just give Bubbles, the dog, the treat for not having done it after you were having a conversation with your dog. Seriously, you're having a conversation with your dog about it not doing what you want it to do. Bubbles, I don't like the fact that you literally pooped on my carpet. But I understand that you're a good dog, so I'm going to give you a treat anyways. You know what Bubbles the dog is going to think? Bubbles is going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to poop on the carpet again because she's going to give me a treat. I don't have to act a specific way because she's going to give me a treat anyways. This is exactly how men think. What we have a tendency to do is that we think that men are willing to listen to us about what they're doing wrong. But in reality, we're just bringing attention to everything that they're doing wrong. And afterwards, we're rewarding them. Actually, what we're doing while we're having that conversation is we're rewarding them. And I'm not saying that you can't bring up something that you don't appreciate. But there's no reason for you to go into paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs about it. What women have a tendency to do is that when a guy does something that they don't like, then they'll send a whole paragraph and a manuscript and a whole TV series based on whatever they did wrong to make them understand. And you know what the man is going to say? He's going to say, I'm not reading all that. Because that's not training him. That's him understanding that if he does something wrong, he's still going to get your attention. And that attention is his treat. That attention is fuel for him. So he's just going to do more things wrong because then he knows you're going to act up. That's how you're training a man for doing you wrong. You're training a man to play you. Because you're literally giving him the treat of your presence. The only thing he needs to know is that I don't appreciate that. I would rather appreciate you doing this. And then if he doesn't act right, you're not going to pour into it more. He's not stupid. And that's why I want to underline the fact that saying that you need to treat men like dogs don't mean that you need to treat men like they're stupid. Because you know what? Dogs aren't stupid. Dogs are incredibly smart. Dogs can help out people that have diabetes. Dogs, there's a reason you can literally employ a dog. You can literally, dogs have jobs. Some dogs are working more than humans do. Some dogs work more than men do. So saying that a man is a dog is not degrading. Saying that a man should be treated like a dog is not saying that he's less than. It's actually expecting more from him. Being willing to train that man positively and not give him treats for bad behavior. Because your energy you're putting into him, whether that's just your presence, you literally telling him, I don't like this and this and that, and then a whole paragraph about the things that you don't like, that's energy. That's you giving him energy. And he's going to be knowing like, okay, she's going to come back. She's going to want me if I do things wrong. She's going to want to like blow in my face if I do things wrong. So I'm going to do more things wrong because then she's going to stick around. She's going to waste her energy. And when she's wasted all of her energy on me, she's not going to want to leave because now she's tired. And then I got her. You know what you would say if he was a dog? You would say bad dog. And then you would be like, no treats. That's exactly how you got to be with men. Not bad man, or you don't call him bad dog. Maybe he's into that. I don't know. Maybe he's into that. That's on you, girl. That's for you to find out. You're going to mention gently, I don't appreciate that. And then you're not going to pour any more energy into it because the energy for him is a treat. You know what else is a treat to men? When you've said something that you don't like, I don't appreciate this, I don't like this. You go about your day, you think you've won, but then later he's like, we should get it frisky. We should get it on. That is him trying to get you to give him a treat, even though he knows that he has bad behavior. Because men are not stupid. I want you to understand that. Men are not stupid. They know exactly what they've done. But if you give them that treat of access to you physically, their brain will tell them, I did something right. And then now you will be conditioned to feel like, oh, well, the argument was a couple hours ago, so unless he's made it up to you, honey, no treat. Unless he showed that he's really a good boy, no treat. If he hasn't made it up to you, no treat. Because if you do give him a treat for that, he's going to think that it's all okay, what he did before. You just need it to calm down. Now he'll think you're the dog. And you know what? I do believe that saying that men should be treated like dogs can be seen in a positive way. But women being seen as dogs is not positive. Because you all know what they call a female dog. Yeah? We're not going to have to say that word here. But you all know what they call a female dog. And you know that men don't use this word to describe a woman that he loves. They don't use this word to describe someone that is nice. They use this word to describe someone who's just going to stick around no matter what because the guy feeds you and he gives you a pat once in a while. That's why they call women that word. When a man uses the word female dog for a woman, then that's a way of him saying that either she's malleable, she's easy to handle, or she's too wild and she's mean, and men don't like mean women because mean women are uncontrollable. So understand that the dynamic can never be equal. We're not talking about equality in this video, we're talking about equity. And the equity here is that men literally respond like dogs. And when you start putting two and two together when it comes to the behavioral similarities between dogs and men, then you will start clocking that men are actually not as hard to understand as you think they are, but they also don't operate like women do. They don't respond to kind words in the same way that women do. Men don't solve problems the same way women do. Men solve problems by physicality, being physical, like a dog barks or attacks, and men receive appreciation through physical touch and through treats, whatever that may mean, your energy, access to you, physically, mentally. It is so much easier for you to attach from men in general when you understand that they operate just like dogs. And you will be able to see their behavior much more clearly, much more for what it truly is, when you are no longer afraid of thinking to yourself, okay, men are dogs. Because then you will also act accordingly and you will retract your energy once they do something wrong. And this will actually make it easier for you to detach from men in general, because you will not be feeding energy into a project. Because a lot of the times, us women, we actually think that it is our responsibility to raise and change a man. So we feed him with love and love and love and what we think is love, but it's really truly self-abandonment and people-pleasing. I have a whole video on that, so go watch that. We think that us giving and giving and giving, like, oh, here's a treat, here's a treat, here's a treat, that's going to make a man more loyal. But you know what? A man's only going to go towards where he gets a treat. And when you don't have any more treats left, he's going to be like, goodbye. Just like a dog. If you don't have any more treats left, he's going to be like, goodbye. And most of these men are not actually good family dogs, okay? We're not talking about the good family dog that's been raised well and that has never seen no issues in their life. What we're talking about are usually stray dogs. And stray dogs, aka stray men, they will like your affection. They will like you going and patting them because you feel sorry for them. But you know what they're gonna do? As soon as they see someone else who has more food, not just affection, then they're gonna leave you. Because they've been stray so long that they don't have that concept of loyalty. And you're not the one to train them to have that concept of loyalty. Anyways, how do you train a man as a dog to be a good boy, to give you more? Well, you only reward good behavior. Whenever a man takes care of something for you, helping you out with money, your nails, your car note, rubbing your feet, all of that, you praise him. You say, good boy, and you reward him with your attention. We're not talking about no rewarding him with the poom poom. No. The reward is your praise. And when you tell him that what you appreciate about him, it's so good, you're like, thank you so much, I really appreciate it. He is gonna want to do more for you. Just like a dog who's used to getting treats for giving someone their paw, he's gonna want to give his paw to everyone because he's gonna be like, where's my treat? Where's my treat? That dog is also gonna clock that, oh, if it's nice towards more people, then it's just gonna be treated better in general. It's gonna get attention. The dogs that are the nicest and the dogs that are trained well, that, you know, are loyal, take care of their human, you know, do what they need to do. Those dogs are usually the dog that everyone's like, oh my God, you're such a good dog, love you, good boy. That's how men's brains work as well. They're like, they want that good boy. They want the good boy. Men actually really want to be domesticated, guys. Men love being domesticated. They just don't want to tell you that because you can't domesticate him. He feels like he needs to domesticate you. If you do not treat a man like a dog, he will treat you like one. Okay? Hear me out. If you do not treat a man like a dog, he will treat you like one. Because if you do not make it clear that you have the assertiveness and the strength to say, I'm not dealing with this, I'm walking away, I have the power to walk away and say, I'm not dealing with you if you're acting up, then he's just going to assume that you're the dog who's waiting for the treat. And the treat in your case is literally like bare minimum attention. In your case, the treat is just like literally just a man being around. Huh? And then he's like, oh, she's just a dog. That's what he's gonna think. He's gonna think you're stupid if you do not treat him like a dog. Because men love being domesticated. Men love taking care of their woman. Men love doing what their woman tells them. They love being like a dog. They love, giving their paw. They love doing tips and tricks. Men love hopping and jumping and skipping. They love it, and they are gonna do it for you if you train them right. And if you also train them right, they will also know how to bark at people that seem strange. Because if you've trained a dog right, the same way you can train a man, with positive reinforcement, praising him, good boy when he's doing good, he will also be very, very vigilant when it comes to people that are not good. So he will actually become more loyal the more he does for you. Yeah. He's a dog. He will become more loyal. He will become more like thinking he's yours. He will be like the most loyal man ever if you make him do things for you. Because a dog wants to have an owner. A dog loves having an owner. That's why we say that dogs are a man's best friend. They love having someone who can tell them what to do. They love having someone who's not afraid of giving them commands. And they love getting praise from that person. The dog is gonna get so confused, aka the man is also gonna get so confused if you're just like cussing him out and sending him paragraphs. Girl, the dog's not gonna be able to read no paragraph. That's why these men say, I'm not reading all that, because they're not reading the same way that a dog is not reading, and they're not gonna read all that. To them, that's just attention. If you're sitting around a dog probably doesn't even speak English. Maybe they do. I know that do they speak English? That's another philosophical video for another time. But if you sit down in front of the dog and you're like, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, I'm gonna pet you gently till you understand that you did this wrong. Oh, sweet dog, you did this wrong. I'm gonna pet you and give you a treat so you understand it was wrong. That dog is only gonna feel the pets and it's gonna like the treats. The same thing goes for these men when you're sitting down with them and you're trying to explain to them nicely what they did wrong. You're sitting down and you're patting this man on his head. Sweet little man. Oh, I know you have mental health issues, but I don't really like what you did there. Here's a treat. Here's a treat. Oh, I didn't really like what you get. Let me stroke you. I know you're doing so good, but I don't appreciate that thing you did. Oh, I'm so sorry. The guy's gonna be like, she's giving me attention. She's giving me attention. I'm just gonna use this to my benefit. That's why they give you the puppy dog eyes and they use the mental health card. But mental health. He's just a dog. But instead of using puppy dog eyes, he's using the mental health card, or he's using the but in human form. Him saying something like, well, I'm not good enough. That's just, he wants your attention. Or him saying, you're probably just gonna leave me, or you leave people that are not good enough for you anyways. That's him asking for your attention like a dog. And you're replying, you're like, oh, so sorry. You know what? I can actually justify giving that attention to a dog. If it's a decent dog, if it's a good dog. But to a man, girl, you're better than that. He does not deserve pats and treats and love if he's doing something wrong. He deserves to be know that he was a bad boy. And then you're going to retract your energy until he reciprocates and makes it up to you. And that doesn't mean that you don't love the dog. That doesn't mean that you don't love the man. But you cannot love the man if he's constantly acting up. And if you're constantly the one pouring into him when he acts up, what kind of balance is that? That's when you become the dog. It's not a balance if you are the one saying sorry when he makes a mess. And the way you're saying sorry is by giving him access to your energy and possibly even your physical body. That whole idea of makeup that we've all heard about. No. That's the guy getting rewarded like a dog for something that he shouldn't do. Clock it. And you're letting him treat you like a dog. Remember, if he doesn't get treated like a dog himself, you are going to be the one being treated like a dog. It's either or, and I definitely know what you don't want to be treated like. But men like being treated like dogs, but when women are treated like dogs, they're And that's nothing that we should be calling women. And if you are a people pleaser girly, if you are an overcompensator girly, if you are an oversharer girly, you need to clock this about men, or you will end up getting played again and again, and you will end up being treated like the dog. Because you know what men will see when they meet you and you're a people pleaser, you're an oversharer, you're an overcompensator? They will see that you are willing to do everything just for having a little bit of attention, not even for a treat. You're willing to be loyal to people that have not yet shown you kindness, that have not yet shown you anything that you should be getting. And then they're like, oh, she's the dog. She's the dog. And then you don't have the upper hand. And you might think, well, we should all be equal. We should all have equality and no one should have the upper hand. Honey, patriarchy has had the upper hand for so many years, and now the men are starting to drop their strategic game, like in the 48 Laws of Power and whatever. It is now our duty to womankind to use this to our benefit. It is now our duty to clock men's behavior and see it for what it is, instead of wearing the rose-tinted glasses that patriarchy has put onto us. Because patriarchy is feeding us this. We should all be equal, and men shouldn't be said that they're dogs. That's what they're going to say in this comment section. Wow, women are really saying that men are dogs now. This woman is a mid. This woman is never going to get a man. That's what they're going to say. You know what they're probably going to say? I remember I got this comment not that long ago. You're going to die old. Hopefully I'm going to die old, first and foremost. You're going to die old. You're going to die lonely. You're going to die by yourself. God forbid a woman has dreams. Me? By myself? Old? That sounds like a long, happy life. But men have a tendency to use something like, oh, you're single, you'll stay single forever, as an insult, while in reality is actually a blessing. And they do this, patriarchy does that to make us the dogs. That's why women become the underdog. And men have been playing the unethical breeders for so many years, making it seem ethical, making it seem morally justified for women to be subservient. Because anything that is not us making ourselves dogs to men will literally feel unnatural, because it's not something that we've grown up feeling that was available to us. That is why I'm saying this is not about equality. This is about equity. What do we deserve? The patriarchy has been reigning for far too long for us to feel like we need to bring equality, because men will spit the equality BS in our face to make it seem like we need to all do more. And you know what? In reality, they're doing less. They're getting all of the treats, all of the scoopy snacks through your mentality, through your labor, through your birthing their children, being mother, maid, servant, to sell you an idea that we're all best friends. That is also why the phrase dogs are man best friend can actually reflect the relationship that a lot of women and that we have with men in patriarchy. Because we think that we're best friends with men and we're all equal, but in reality, they have the upper hand. But we need to flip that script and understand that the men need to be treated like dogs, because the men are the simple ones. And when we start treating them like dogs, training them and not giving in to them if they're behaving badly, that's when we get the upper hand, and that's when we can actually move the pieces. By thinking that men are dogs, we're playing checkers while they're playing chess. But of course, don't tell the men that you learned this. Just think it to yourself. Because girlies, you know what? We're not dogs. We're cats. We cannot be held. We cannot be controlled. We cannot be domesticated. That's why they call it catcalling. Because they're hoping you're going to transform yourself into a dog and attack them back. And they like that. They like that attention. But if we stay in our black cat energy, we control it. We move the pieces. We have the upper hand. And I want to finish this video up by saying something that my grandma always says to me. Every time I visit my grandparents, we always see cats running around in the fields. My grandma always says this. This is a thing that my grandma always says to me. Little cat on the road, who do you belong to? Well, funny you should ask. I belong to me. That's why we gotta channel the cat energy. And we can talk about that in another video. Let me know if you wanted me to talk about black cat energy. But yeah, we need to see ourselves as a cats. We do not belong to anyone. We are actually malleable. We're actually able to go wherever we want to go, catch whatever we want to catch. We're not chasing anyone. They're chasing us. Men, society, they want to keep cats But you know what? Cats only domesticated themselves for humans because they knew that they could get more from humans. They didn't domesticate themselves for humans so that they could do more for humans. They domesticated themselves for humans because they understood that if they play nice, they could get a one-up. But men want us to be the dogs because they don't understand that women don't operate the same way that men do. They live through the male gaze, and the male gaze only operates like a dog. But the female gaze is the gaze of a cat. And that's what we need to tune into. You can keep a dog in check, aka you can keep a man in check, but you cannot keep a cat in check. You cannot keep a woman in check. So start treating men like dogs. Be detached so you understand that their behavior is simpler than you think. Don't reward bad behavior and put yourself in the position of being the cat who only belongs to yourself, not no one else.